Happy Easter, everyone. We are going to be reading a special story that I have been saving particularly for Easter. This story is it's called The Everything Seed. It is by Carole Martignacco, not quite sure how to pronounce it. But she is a poet and a singer and a grandmother, and she serves as a minister in Quebec, Canada. And the book she wrote has illustrations by Joy Troyer, and I'm going to include some of those beautiful illustrations in this video. So this is The Everything Seed. Have you ever watched a seed grow? Have you ever noticed how it begins? So small, so still, so quiet, like a gift wanting to be opened. And how slowly it wakes up, begins to unfold, growing into something larger and larger and larger. Then you know that whatever comes from a seed usually ends up looking very little like the seed it came from, which is also true of the very first seed. Once, long, long ago, way back before the beginning, so long ago that there was no such thing as time because there's no one there to count it. Everything was a huge, deep, mysterious place, like something waiting to happen. There were no stars, no sun, no moon. There was no place like Earth, not a drop of water or a single tree or rock or flower, and no living beings anywhere. But in that deep, waiting space was hidden the tiniest point of something no bigger than a seed. It was not a flower seed. It was not an elm tree seed. It was not a seed of corn, although all those things were included in the seed. You might call it an everything seed, because that is what it became. No one knows where that first little seed came from, or how it was planted, or how it knew, in the way that only seeds seem to know, how long to wait, for just the right moment to sprout and grow. But all at once, this tiny seed, cradled and nourished in the rich soil of space, woke up, broke open, and began to unfold, unfolding, and blossoming forth into an enormous, blazing, bright light, like a great grandmother's sun, and the universe was born. Out fluttered the galaxies like a storm of snowflakes swirling and gathered into the brightest, most blindingly beautiful cloud of stars. And out of those star clouds whirled our own star, the one that we call the sun, and our earth, and the moon, and all the round spinning planets we have learned how to name. And this is the secret of that tiny seed. You and I were there in the very beginning, just as the idea for each leaf on a big oak tree lies hidden in an acorn. We were there with all the stars and planets, all the rocks and oceans, plants and animals and people. Everything that is now, ever was, or ever will be, was inside that first tiny seed. So whenever you hold a seed in your hand and wonder what it could become, imagine how you and all that is here once came from the tiniest speck of an everything seed, before it sprouted and grew long, long ago in the way back beginning of time. Now, if this were an ordinary story, it would end right here. But this is the story of the universe. It keeps unfolding. What once began in a blazing blossom of light continues every day. New stars sprout open in the deep soil of space. New plants and animals appear in the earth. Seeds of many kinds are scattered everywhere. To help us remember, and new people are born every day with the spark of that first light still alive and burning deep inside, waiting like the everything seed to shine in ways that are yet to be known. So that is the story of the everything seed. And I saved it especially for Easter because, as you know, Easter celebrates the resurrection of Jesus, and it's about rebirth, and it's about life. And the everything seed so perfectly captures both new beginnings and birth, as well as the very essence of life itself, because it's all there from the beginning. Now think about each of you. You once started out as essentially a little seed, and with but all that looked totally nothing like you looked now, but all of those elements of you were there in the very beginning. And that element of light is there from the very beginning. It's in you now. It was in you when you first had life. And just like the everything seed that is still growing, unfolding, and expanding, so all of you throughout your lives, through all of our lives, we are always still growing and expanding. You don't turn 18, become an adult, and all of a sudden you're just an adult now. You are who you are. We are always learning more about who we are and continuing to grow. Now, I think the everything seed can also represent our faith. Different people around the world have different types of faith. And even within our own Seaside church, we have differing faiths in a way, because we're each entirely unique individuals, which means our faith is not going to be exactly like that of anyone else's. But I think I can pretty safely say that what all our faiths share is an enduring belief that the whole is more than the sum of the parts, that there's more to all living beings on this earth than meets the eye. And that's the very spirit of life itself. Now, the everything seed appeared as described in the story, so small, so still, so quiet. And yet from the seed, life burst forth. There's so much more to it than could be understood, and so much more to it than it appeared. And just like life is bursting forth all around us during the springtime right now. So I'm going to conclude the lesson with one of my favorite songs that I sometimes play at church. I don't have a sing it very often. I should do some more, and actually I might change things up to do that at the sunrise service on Easter, because it's such a lovely song. And it so perfectly represents spring and rebirth and faith and the resurrection of Jesus, and just of life itself bursting forth from all that is around us. In the bulb, there is a flower, and the seed, an apple tree. In cocoons, a hidden promise, butterflies will soon be free. In the cold and snow of winter, there's a spring that waits to be unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. There's a song in every silence, seeking word and melody. There's a dawn in every darkness, bringing hope to you and me. From the past will come a future, what it holds, a mystery, unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. And our end is our beginning, and our time, infinity. In our doubt, there is believing, in our life, eternity. In our death, a resurrection, and at last, a victory. Unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. That is all for today. Have a very happy Easter.